Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation on leadership and innovation. Here are my team members Nishit, Alex, Monica, Gabby, Vishal, Akshay, and I'm Aishwarya. Next slide, please. So today we'll explore how the three remarkable leaders, Steve Jobs, Herb Kelleher, and Alan Mulally, successfully managed risk and fostered a culture of innovation in their respective companies, and will critically assess their leadership practices and discuss how these can be applied to effectively manage and change and drive innovation in various organizational contexts. Next slide. So we'll be examining the three distinct leaders from different industries. So first one is Steve Jobs, who is the co-founder and former CEO of Apple, known for revolutionary products in tech industry. Herb Kelleher, who is the co-founder and former CEO of Southwest Airlines, who disrupted the airline industry with a unique business model. And Alan Mulally, who is the former CEO of Ford Motor Company and who led the significant turnaround in automotive industry during a time of crisis. So each of these leaders face unique challenges and employ different strategies to foster innovation and manage risk.
So let's start with the case studies. Our first case study is based on Steve Jobs. He was known for his visionary leadership and focus on product innovation. Some key aspects of his approach included an unwavering emphasis on design and user experience, often prioritizing these over technical specifications. Also, the willingness to cannibalize Apple's own products, as seen with the introduction of the iPhone, which could have threatened iPod sales. Finally, creating products that people didn't know they needed, which effectively created new market categories. Jobs managed risk by ensuring Apple's products were so innovative and well designed that they created their own demand. Next slide, please. Furthermore, Steve Jobs fostered a culture of innovation at Apple through several key practices. The first one was promoting a think different mentality, encouraging employees to challenge conversations and conventional wisdom. The second one, but by facilitating interdisciplinary collaboration, bringing together technology and liberal arts. And third practice, by maintaining a high level of secrecy around new projects, which help maintaining focus and build anticipation. These practices foster an environment where innovation could flourish even while adhering to jobs' demanding vision.
So let's speak about Herbie Kelleher, who changed the airline industry with a new way of doing business. First, he offered low-cost, simple air travel when other airlines were focused on luxury. Instead of using the common hub-and-spoke system, Kelleher chose point-to-point routes, which meant more direct flights. In addition, he introduced quick turnaround times, so planes spend less time on the ground and more time flying. Because of this, Southwest Airlines stayed profitable even when the industry was struggling, thanks to Kelleher's focus on being efficient and controlling costs. Next, please. Kelleher also used company culture as a way to succeed. For example, he created a fun, relaxed work environment, which was different from other airlines. On top of that, he believed in an employee-first approach, thinking that happy works would lead to happy customers. By hiring people for their attitude and training them for skills, Kelleher made sure Southwest culture was strong, and employees stayed loyal and motivated to give great service and new ideas. These two key areas, business model and company culture, are what made the company successful.
Yes, so moving on to the next slide. Alan Mulally leading through the crisis, right? Just some introduction about Alan Mulally. So he was a former CEO of Ford Motor Company. He's renowned for his leadership during the 2008 financial crisis. His approach was basically involved one Ford plan, unify the company under a single vision, emphasizing collaboration across global operations and transparency and communication. He fostered an open culture where employees felt safe to share their challenges, and decisive action also is one of his tough decisions that he took, and supporting non-core brands like Jaguar and Aston Martin to streamline their operations, focus on core competencies. And another attribute that I want to name is long-term vision. Instead of short-term fixes, he focused on sustainable growth and innovation. Moving on to the next slide. So Alan Mulally was trying to drive innovation in a traditional industry, focusing on technology. He invested in R&D for fuel-efficient vehicles and new technology, recognizing the industry's shift towards sustainability. Design philosophy. He emphasized the importance of customer feedback in design, leading to vehicles that better met consumer needs. Collaboration with tech firms. He promoted partnerships with technological companies to integrate advanced features and improve connectivity in vehicles, setting a new standard for the industry. And also, like, gained a huge cultural shift by transforming the company's culture to embrace innovation. And he also encouraged teams to experiment and push boundaries. Now, moving on to the next slide. Leadership, risk management, and approach, right? So, Steve Jobs bet on revolutionary products. Herb Kelleher focused more on operational efficiency, whereas our person focused more on proactive and reactive approaches, regulatory environment, highly regulated sectors, and also focused on cultural factors. He took big risks on revolutionary products, and also challenged Keller and Jobs to manage risks through laser focus on operational efficiency and cost management. Yep.
Thank you, Vishal. So, as we examine the innovation strategies of Jobs, Kelleher, and Mulally, we see three distinct approaches that highlight the varied nature of innovation. Jobs at Apple epitomized design led product innovation. His focus wasn't just on creating new products, but on reimagining entire categories. The iPhone, for instance, didn't just improve on existing mobile phones, it revolutionized our concept of what a phone could be. Herb Kelleher at Southwest Airlines, on the other hand, showcased business model innovation. He didn't even invent a new type of airplane. Instead, he transformed how airline service were delivered. By offering low cost, no frill service with point to point routes, he made air travel accessible to a whole new market segment. Mullally's approach at Ford centered on process and organizational innovation. He didn't primarily focus on new car models, but on transforming how Ford operates as a company. His One Ford mission and emphasis on data driven decision making overhauled the company's internal workings. This diverse approaches remind us that innovation isn't limited to product development. It can manifest in how we structure a business, deliver our services, or organize our teams. Going to the next slide. Now let's turn to some key lessons in managing risk that we can glean from these leaders, right? First, align risk taking with your organization's strength. Job took big risk on new products because Apple excelled at design and user experience. Knowing what your company does best and let that guide your risk decisions. Second, use data and transparency to identify and mitigate risk. Mullally's weekly business review meetings at Ford exemplify this. By openly discussing challenges, you can address potential issues before they become crisis. Lastly, build a culture that supports calculated risk taking. This doesn't mean recklessness, but rather an environment where innovative ideas are welcomed and failures are seen as learning opportunities. So, by applying these lessons, organizations of all sizes and across various industries can strike a balance between driving innovation and managing risk effectively.
Thanks, Akshay. So let's turn back into innovation and the key lessons that foster and enable an environment to be innovative. So the first pillar, sorry, is really around vision and purpose. So it's really that ability to set clear goals and inspire action so that everybody can gather around a common vision and follow a similar purpose. Diverse thinking for collaborations that sparks creativity. So that's very much an environment element where collaboration can happen. It's a lot for risk to be taken and people to spark ideas. And around employee empowerment, that's all about setting up a positive culture that boosts morale. If you're in an environment where that kind of behavior is tolerated and actually embraced, then employees are more likely to embed innovation and do it. Next slide, please. So how would we apply those key lessons? In regards to risk assessment, which is something we talked a lot about today during class, meaning gauging risk tolerance and the innovation needs. So that's really establishing what is the level of risk and opportunity that is at key while assessing the level of risk. In regards to core strengths, it's identifying both internally and externally what are the type of strengths that align with our innovation initiatives and therefore enables you to make the right decisions according to your strengths. The third one is obvious, the culture of innovation. So that's that ability to balance risk and accountability towards a greater goal by fostering that, again, cultural element of enabling innovation to happen. And finally, strategic implementation, which always has to go in hand with an action plan so that you can put your effort in play and follow them strategically.
Thanks, Alex. As we near the end of our discussion on leadership in innovation, it's crucial to acknowledge the challenges that organization often faces when implementing these strategies. First and foremost is the delicate balance between short-term result and the long-term innovation. In today's fast-paced business environment, there is a constant pressure to deliver immediate results. However, true innovation often requires time, resource, and the ability to think beyond the next quarter. Leader must find ways to satisfy short-term demands while still investing in the future-focused initiatives. Another significant hurdle is managing resistance to change. This is particularly evident in traditional or risk-averse organizations. People naturally gravitate towards the familiar, and introducing the new ways of thinking or operating can be met with the skepticism or outright opposition. Effective leader must be prepared to communicate the value of innovation clearly and consistently, while also addressing the concern of those affected by changes. Lastly, there is a challenge of sustaining an innovation beyond a charismatic leadership. We have seen how figures like Steve Jobs, Kelleher, Allen drove innovation in their organization. But what happens when such leaders move on? It is critical to embed a culture of innovation so deeply into the organization DNA that it persists regardless of who at the helm. Addressing this challenge proactively is a key to creating a resilient, innovative organization that can adapt and thrive in changing times. In conclusion, we have seen throughout this presentation that effective management of risk and fostering of innovation are critical for long-term organizational success. Leaders play a pivotal role in setting the tone, creating an environment where calculated risk-taking is encouraged and innovation can flourish. The lesson we have gleaned from visionary leaders like Steve Jobs, Herb Kelleher, and Alan Mulally provide a valuable roadmap. However, it is important to remember that this lesson should be adapted to your specific context. The goal isn't to replicate their method exactly, but to understand the principles behind their success and apply them in a way that makes sense for your unique situation. By doing so, you can drive a positive change and innovation in your organization, positioning it for success in an increasingly competitive and rapidly evolving business landscape. Thank you, everyone.